Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Awaken to Your Soul Path. I am your host, Barbara, and today I am joined by the wonderful Carlene Saelg, and we are going to be talking about the evolutionary path to being who you were always meant to be. And that path takes us, among other things, along the journey of the big shifts in 2024, but also the accelerated DNA activations that are probably a result from the shift. So thank you, Carlene, for being here today. I'm looking forward to this talk.
Thank you for having me on, Barbara. I'm so excited to be here. It really is a pleasure to just get out there and be able to spread all of this information and knowledge that's coming in right now with all these activations, and just really being the spiritual leaders that we are to really guide the next awakening of everyone into this, what we just called the shift of 2024, because it is literally happening right now.
Exactly.
So
And
thank you.
yes, thank you. I for one, I'm feeling it. So, for the people who are either feeling it or are not sure if they are feeling it, but also the people who think they don't feel anything, maybe it's good to start at the beginning and talk a little bit about what is going on right now and what is that feeling like? What's signs can you see? What things can you feel? Sort of that as a starting point.
Sure. So the way I see it, and all the information, I'm a galactic shaman. So I bridge the information and the technology from our galactic sources, our cosmic family, our star families, with the ancient earth wisdom of the planet, right? So I've been doing this for so very long that when I get the information, I feel it in my body as an absolute truth. And when it's not truth, it gives me the information that it is not true as well. So I can decipher what information I'm supposed to relay and what I'm not supposed to relay.
Mhm.
So I feel very, very comfortable walking in this realm of two different places, like having these galactic abilities, yet being very solid in my 3D body to be able to help everyone here who's not quite there where I am, where you are, where some of the other spiritual leaders are, and being able to navigate this shift
Yes.
that's happening. So it is very, very important for us to get this word out there and what is actually happening. What can we tell people, what they can expect, what they can feel,
Exactly.
to know that, they don't need to be afraid or scared or in any kind of fear program, because we're out of that phase, right? So what I'm being told, and what not what I'm being told, what I experience is this evolutionary path has opened up so big right now, because the programming that has been in place for thousands and thousands of years has been lifted off of this planet. And those programs, those fear programs and those mind control programs, and the things that really kept us in lack and fear and just in bad health, all the things are now literally lifted off this planet, and they came here originally through negative regressive ET beings, right? So not to freak anybody out about ETs, but we are not the only ones in the universe, right? So we have to be able to have this conversation openly and honestly, that humans are not the only species in this universe. There's multiverses of species, right? So we are here on this planet to evolve our species, the human species. And I like to call it the evolutionary path to the galactic human, because we are, now that we're out of these programs that kept our frequency down, we can now access all of these other abilities that we were always meant to have in the first place, but we were switched off by those negative regressive ETs that were here trying to control us. For, we don't even need to get into all of that because they're gone. So now all we need to do is realize that all of those negative programmings and the fear and the lack that we were so used to for so many generations is now literally, we are in this place of instant manifestation. Like we can literally just think, visualize, feel into these manifestations with our emotion, with our big old hearts, and immediately manifest the life and the experience that we want to have as multidimensional beings. And when we do that, we are saying yes to the information and the technology that is coming down from our galactic friends who want to see us evolve. So yes, there's an organic and very natural way to experience these activations of our being, of our human being. And that all depends on what you want. If you are just awakening, if you are just stepping onto this journey, you may choose to just do the organic and natural way of activating and being like, easier way into it. And that's totally fine. Your experience is what you choose. But I am here with my soul's mission to accelerate the activations of the spiritual leaders, the healers, and the starseeds, because we have a job to do. And that job is to collaborate as a spiritual community and come together to be that support system for all of those who are naturally and organically awakening and experiencing that shift, so that we can be the support. So we can be the ones who are basically, what do you want to say? Like, we are the ones to answer all the questions. We are the ones to be the teacher, be the guru. I don't want to say guru, but the mentor. Yes, the guide, right? So we're there to lead the pack and say, there is nothing to be afraid of. Just walk this way and always, always, always stay connected to your sovereign being, because your body will never lie and it will always tell you the truth on a frequency level if you're following the right path. So, and I say this across the board, no matter what you're feeling, if you're talking with someone and it doesn't feel right, listen to that.
Yes. Yeah, but you know what I'm seeing, and what I also felt in myself before things changed and I did the work and awoken, is that we have moved away from trusting our body, being connected with our body, things like intuition as our compass. So for a lot of people, this is the problem.
Yes. It's true. And if we're gonna go back to that very basic tenet, right, of trusting our own being, because we were switched off, when we were in that mess of mind control and lack and fear and all the things that really kept us depleted and not plugged into our own sovereign connection to source, we were told that intuition is not to be trusted, right? We were told, literally told, don't trust that. Only trust what your eyes are seeing. Only trust what your ears are hearing. And that is where the programming was coming in, through mass media, through entertainment, through, radio programs and music and stuff like that. They, and I say they, meaning when we were in these control mechanisms, even the love frequency that used to be in some of the most melodious music that was ever made, those frequencies were changed. And it became more of a chaotic frequency that literally made us feel terrible.
But it
So
goes
it was
further than that, right? Because I remember that as a child, I intuitively knew which foods I shouldn't eat, that I couldn't tolerate in my body, or that I had an allergy to, or whatever. And my parents, thinking that it was good for me, ended up bribing me with money to eat or drink it anyway.
yes.
But by doing that, in whatever form this happened, you are basically telling a child not to trust in their body, not to trust in the instincts. I also had the intuitive gift of knowing. So I knew things with absolute clarity that scared the bejesus out of the people around me. Because how can a girl so young know such things? And it was scary. So I learned to ignore all of these things, all of these gifts, I am also a highly sensitive person, which means that I'm much more in tune with nature, feel a lot more things, and I had to switch that off completely to survive in the world that we came from, because there was no room for what we call soft skills like feelings and intuition, and there was logic and goal setting and very action oriented steps, and people who are more sensing, who feel somebody's energy, who can see somebody's aura, who intuitively know, who channel voices, who see the dead and can talk to them. All of these abilities were deemed with the witch hunts, right? Witches were evil, but throughout history, we see events happening where people who were different from other people and who had these special abilities, or these abilities, because I don't think they're special, they're just wonderful, that it wasn't okay to be who you are, that it wasn't okay to have these things. So our society created sort of like a hostile environment for people to be themselves, the people who are, well, yeah, light workers, galactic beings, connected, more energy tuned, however you want to call us.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And the one thing that I want to really clarify as we moved out of that really dense age, if you will, where we were being attacked for displaying our own skill and our own sovereign abilities, right? We are now out of that time period where we were so afraid to use our
Yes.
natural abilities. And the reason that we no longer have to be afraid is because those negative ET beings who were here that literally put us to death for using our own abilities are gone, right? So they are off this planet. They are actually banished from the solar system. So now all we have is this open frequency that we can plug into. There's no longer this chaotic frequency that's covering the planet. So we can now really truly connect with our galactic families, with our friends that are out there truly helping the human species to evolve. And it's not just the humans, but it's the plant life, it's the planet itself to evolve to the next density, to the, you know, the next way of multidimensional living. So we can really truly feel much more comfortable and relax into this new evolution. Now, I want to make this very clear. The healers, the spiritual leaders, and the starseeds, you still have a job to do. So you need to get off your bum and you need to put some, you know, action in behind your feet and actually do something, because we do still have to come together. We have to accelerate these activations so that we are ready, that we can lead our communities.
Yes,
And we can
because it's
have these
extremely
conversations in
difficult,
our communities,
right?
right?
Because we've been used to a way of living for such a long time that it's ingrained into our DNA. It's not even something we consciously choose anymore. It's just, it's in our DNA. It's been handed down from generation to generation, and changing that, that's going to require more than just, oh, tomorrow is going to be different.
Yes.
That's not going to cut it.
You're exactly right, Barbara. I mean, we can't just wake up and say, magically, I'm a different person now, right? There is still work to do.
Yes.
And for those that are wanting to go the natural and organic route, you have to get into meditation, into practice with your spiritual, you know, sovereignty and your spiritual, I guess, practices, right? Where you're either in quiet time, you're in prayer, you're in meditation, you're just in communion with your higher self, which is also in communion with our source creator, right? So when you're in that place, you can bring in those activations, you can get glimpses of wisdom and galactic information that will usher you into this new being where you're activated naturally. But if you are really like I know that I have this soul mission to do, and I don't want to wait for this natural and organic thing to happen for us, right? There are other ways to go about these activations. And that's part of my soul's mission. When I was off planet and I met with my Pleiadian star family,
Mhm.
I mean, and that's just one of my nearest last incarnations off planet, but I'm also Arcturian, and I'm also a very, very ancient race
Mhm.
that I'm very familiar with because I've had these multidimensional experiences where I've met them, where
Mhm.
I've been off planet.
Yeah.
So I know through my own personal experiences that these activations can and are happening in an accelerated way for the leaders, the healers, and the star seeds, because we have a job to do,
Mhm.
right? And that job, like I said, is truly a localized thing, because once you become who you were always meant to be in this accelerated fashion, you can then start stepping more into that advanced leadership,
Mhm.
because we're already as leaders doing our work, but
Yes.
there's so much concentration on healing the past and looking at past traumas and dramas and generational stuff that we literally don't even have to do that anymore. If we just become activated, all of that stuff will naturally heal itself, and we will become the multidimensional person that we were always meant to be. So we don't have to swirl around the drain of trauma and drama anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And trust me, I know by saying that there's going to be some backlash, because there are some spiritual leaders out there who that their sole source of income is coming from helping people to heal generational trauma
Yes.
and the witch wound, and all the things that are past life related.
Yeah, but
But
for
I'm
the
here to
longest
tell
time,
you,
that was also the thing that needed to happen. And it's
yes,
not until things started to shift that everything started to shift. I had in a very great conversation about this with the people in my community today, where we talked about that there are lots of moments in the past couple of years, actually, where it sort of feels like you're a ball in a pinball machine, where you get banged around everywhere, where shifts happen so quickly that you barely can keep up, and where you have downloads and epiphanies in such a rate that it's exhausting. You feel exhausted, even though your conscious thinking is that I'm barely doing anything.
right. And that is where we have to really be um cognizant of taking the time to get quiet and bring ourselves back to center and connect with our higher self and source, because that is where we're getting our vital life force from. So
Mhm.
we need to embody these upgrades. We need to really, truly integrate them before we're moving on to the next thing and trying to do all the, thousand things that are out there, especially on, with the information age and technology. There's so much being thrown at us, just like you said with the pinball. We have to maintain some sort of focus. And if I can implore the leaders and the healers and starseeds to truly think about this next stage, because we fall into this I call it cognitive dissonance, right? It's not, I didn't make it up, but that's just what it's called, where we just decide that if I already know that I've reached a certain spot in my evolution, well, I'm just going to stay here for a while, and until all the information that I take in is just going to confirm what I already know. But I'm also here to tell the leaders to open your eyes to a wider focus,
Mhm.
because these accelerated activations, and I'm not the only one doing them. I know I was told off planet that there are many people around the globe that are these master activators, if you will, right? That are
Yeah.
coming in to be the activators for people to get these upgrades to their biological blueprint in an accelerated fashion, because there is no time to wait. I
No.
literally had a meeting with some ET beings just about a month ago where they told me the time is now,
Mhm.
right? I was in a high level, galactic level, if you will, along with government and high level military in this meeting where we were discussing disclosure and when they were going to present themselves. And the information was now. It is right now, meaning 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking by fall, by August, September, we're likely going to start seeing real, true visitations from our galactic friends in a very peaceful manner, in a way that's going to show us the next steps and what we're here to do and how we can come together as a collective.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, what are we doing, right? Let's get out there and upgrade and step into that evolution of what I call the galactic human.
Mm-hmm.
Because the galactic human is in possession of all of our abilities. And I'm not just talking about our clair abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So claircognizance, clairaudience, all the clairs, and all the things that we've been doing for eons, and under, the cloak of, oh, I'm doing this, but I don't want a whole lot of people to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff was like elementary level stuff, right?
Yeah.
We literally can, as galactic humans, not only always use our telepathy,
Mm-hmm.
but telekinesis, teleportation, bilocation, merging our timelines, being able to time travel, being able to heal within our own Merkaba, all the different things. And this is what is so exciting about right now. The people that have been going through my accelerated activations course, and I also have a 90-day experience where people can come in and actually have full access to me, where I guide you through and help with the integration and question and answer and all that kind of stuff. They're having 100% transformations. And this is something that you don't see with a lot of these different programs that are out there, or different courses and stuff. You see some transformations, and that's fantastic. But 100%, this blows my mind, the testimonials and stuff that are coming in of people that are experiencing these accelerated activations, because it literally changes their entire life.
Mm-hmm. Do you have some examples?
Into who they were always meant to be. What?
Yeah, we're having a little bit of a lag, but I asked, do you have some examples of some of the results that people have been getting?
The biggest thing that I can tell you, when people go through these activations, they are intense, right? So the first, probably, there's 3 levels to the activations. So usually the first 2 levels, they're having some experiences, multidimensional experiences. And there's also a lot of integration, right? So there's a lot of time that I say a lot of time, but I'm just talking about some restful introspection where you take the time to focus on that integration and embodiment piece. Because if you don't, you will find yourself very exhausted, because you're literally upgrading this 3D human meat suit, and this body needs some time to integrate.
I always have to think about the Men in Black with the Edgar suit.
Yes, right. So we're upgrading our frequency. So to do that, we do need some rest and some time for rejuvenation and that evolutionary part, right? Where our literal DNA is being upgraded. So what kind of results? I mean, people are learning of their ET origins. They're having connections with them. They are learning of their multidimensional abilities, and not just learning of them, like, yes, this is what they are, but experiencing them. And it is so beautiful. I can't tell you the amount of tears that come from people just because they're like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this my whole life. They've always known that they were different. They all have always known that they're not from here, or they've always just felt like the black sheep of the family, or something, where they've just a little bit felt like the outsider, because, like you said yourself, you knew things and you were being conditioned or forced into a framework that didn't fit.
Exactly.
Right. And now we're breaking out of that and saying, you are a sovereign galactic being, and this is everything that you're able and capable of doing. Now just do it, right? We're going to upgrade your DNA, your actual body, your biology, and then it becomes, and don't get me wrong, this is not instantaneous. You have to do your practice, because your body needs that time to create new, I guess you could call it neural pathways, but it's also a matter of your body's muscle memory, right? But it's the cellular memory.
Yes.
Because it needs a little time to remember who it is and who we were always meant to be, and these skills and abilities that we have. So you have to go through it a little bit and really spend some time. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to go through this course, I'm going to speed through it in 10 minutes, in 10 days and just be like, now I'm a galactic human. There is still a little bit of practice there, right? So if you spend some time actually doing it, you will notice that you are having experiences that you've never had before, and those experiences are multidimensional. So you truly get to have experiences with off-world beings in a very loving and frequency match way, right? Because there's no fear involved, and those negative regressive ET beings are gone, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. So this is why I say we can relax. We can allow ourselves to experience this without the fear of being put to death, without the fear of being harmed, right?
A lot of what you're sharing reminds me of the gene keys, which is also a 3-level activation that changes you on a DNA level. So what came up to me is how is this either related or different or both?
So I can't speak about the gene keys because I don't know it. Okay, so I've heard of gene keys, and I've also had very little exposure to human design, and I believe human design and gene keys kind of go together.
Yes, because
I
the
could be
gene
wrong.
keys are based off of the human design, and they're both based off the same type of systems. Yes.
Okay, so I don't know that system, but like I said, there are people that are out there who've been given this mission, this next part of their mission, to activate other people. So there are people doing that, and it's work. Some people are, having amazing results, knowing who they are,
Yeah.
and growing and really becoming, more of that person, right? But with what I've been given when I went off planet, when I met with my Pleiadian star family, I spent 2 weeks off planet. And when I was there, I went through a complete body healing. So my body went through a healing, and then I learned of and remembered the technology that we always had. And I was given the okay to bring that technology and that information back here to then accelerate these activations for those who want them.
Beautiful.
So it's done through frequency, it's done through sound, it's done through color, it's done through water, right? Structured living water. So all of these different things, it's a combination of using these different individual elements to create the technology that we take in through our eyes, through our meditation, that will literally upgrade your DNA. So it's I almost want to say it was a magical experience when these individuals were put in my path. But when I came back to Earth, to Terra, after being off planet, I lost time for a little bit. And I was just like for 2 weeks, I had no idea what my next phase of my mission was. And I had to really get into meditation and focus really hard for about 2 weeks time to really recall that information and what it was that I was supposed to bring back, because I forgot what it was. And that honestly is just because this 3D body could not hold the frequency.
That's it, right? It has trouble keeping up.
Yeah. So it took me 2 weeks of integration and embodiment. And it was when I finally decided to get myself into water. And I spent an hour, 2 hours in the bathtub. It was like 2 hours, really. I didn't, I usually take really long baths, but I just
Me too.
decided, I'm like, oh, I just need to take a bath. And maybe, because whether it's the water, I live right next to the ocean too, or the Gulf of Mexico. And when I am in water, information flows so easily, and I can just get what I need to get because of the conduit or the conduction of the water itself, right? Connecting with all that information. So when I was in the bathtub, I remembered everything. And I was so glad that my cell phone was real close by, because I just could put everything down in my notes. And when I finished, I was like, wow, that is literally the framework for a course. And I connected with my star family again. And I was like, a course? And they were like, you know what? Humans need a framework. Their brains, their cognitive abilities, where we are right now, needs a framework to follow to feel like they are accomplishing something that is organized and helps their brain, even though it's not about the brain. It's about the body, right? So, and your soul. It's about the body, but the body needs to catch up to our soul's ability.
Yes.
But the brain gets in the way a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing, the only muscle that we've exercised for a long time.
True,
Thinking.
but also during that time where we were told that we had dark matter or gray matter in our brain, that we didn't even need most of our brain material. What kind of programming is that? You
Yes.
know, have you heard that? Like we have what was called gray matter or dark matter in our brain. Like, no, we were just turned off. Our DNA was literally unraveled to the point where we were like unable to use the full capacity of our brains. Well, guess what? Now we can turn it back on. We can accelerate those activations, use the full amount of our brains, and within our brain is what? Our pineal gland, which our third eye, decalcify that and really truly get into our galactic abilities, right?
Isn't it
So
overwhelming?
you would think that it's a little overwhelming, but at first, if you just allow the integration, some people literally will go through one of the activations and fall asleep, like they'll just pass out, right?
Yeah.
because it is intense.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, you go through it a couple of times and you're just like, the more you do it, the more you can hold that frequency and the more your body remembers and the DNA starts to activate and rebundle. Not only does it rebundle to the 12-strand DNA that we were always meant to have, but it starts to move and spiral in the way that it was always meant to do, and not just float around in our, you know, our bodies, right? It actually has a job to do, but because of that frequency interference for so many millennia, our DNA became like, you know, our cellular DNA was kind of turned off and a bit dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, they say we use it or lose it, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
we haven't used it for a very long time. And one of the other questions one of my community members asked today was, yeah, but if I ask questions, am I then asking it of myself, or am I asking it of my higher self? Am I asking it of the universe or source energy? Who the hell am I asking?
You know, it's a very good question.
Right?
And I think it comes down to a very simple answer, because when we ask the question, we're just bringing awareness and discernment to something that we want more information about. So how do we get there? You can call it connection, or, you know, connecting to your higher self, but your higher self is always then connected to source. We are a
Exactly.
fractal of source. We are just a minute little piece of energy of the larger unit of consciousness.
Yes, exactly. That's what I answered him. We are all connected. All energy is one. So in essence, it doesn't really matter. You're asking everybody that you mentioned because
Yes.
everything is one. And that's a beautiful thing. So another thing that I was wondering about was, how does then the Schumann resonance tie into this? Because I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that the Schumann resonance has been massively changing. People call it the heartbeat of the earth. It's being erratic. It's showing patterns it has never done before. So how does that tie into everything that we've been talking about?
You know, it is the heartbeat of the earth. It is the frequency, if you will, of Mother Earth. But we are connected to Mother Earth. And because we are changing in our frequency, she is changing in her frequency, and we are becoming a better match, right? So Do we need to get outside more? Absolutely. Do we need to connect with her? Because she's evolving whether we choose to or not.
Yes.
So we must get outside. We must connect with her because this is a collective evolution. We have to do it with her because we are humans of Terra. We are here.
Yes.
And we are inexplicably joined together. So we must do this, right? However, why does it feel erratic? Because it's changing, right? And it's just simply a visual, the Schumann resonance, when you see it on the graph, it's just a visual representation of that energy. We're experiencing, if you take pictures of your aura, or if you're, if you're able to look at someone and see their aura, you will also see these erratic patterns and different changes in the frequency and the things that are coming through because our frequency is changing as well. So I don't think it's anything we need to get overly worked up about because we are changing as Gaia is changing, Mother Earth is changing. So we're good. Just do your practice. If you are turned off to your spiritual journey, well, then, yeah, you might feel some crap, right? You might feel some resistance. You might feel like you're trudging through because everything and everyone around you is changing and shifting, and you're being an obstinate fool by saying you're just going to get up every day, you're going to eat crappy food, you're going to go to work, you're going to come home, you're going to sit on the couch and watch some crappy TV, and then you're going to go to bed and do it all over again. Well, guess what? You are selecting to be in that very low frequency. You're choosing to be.
Yes, but a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people think that that is the way they live life because everybody else seems to be living life that way. And that's, I think, the awakening process, right? Where you become aware of the fact that your life doesn't have to look this way and that there are other opportunities, other choices to be made, other choices when it comes to the food you put in your body, other choices when it comes to the work that you do every day, other choices when it comes to how you allow other people to treat you, also other choices in how you treat other living beings. So you have a lot of different choices and you have a lot of different choices to make. And the awakening process is just becoming aware of that and then figuring out, but what choices do I want to make? What am I here for? And what am I supposed to be doing? And what then aligns best with that, choice-wise?
Right. And that is the ultimate awakening of our souls as a collective. And you're right that the people that are unconsciously or subconsciously choosing to be in that low vibration, they just don't know any better. Right? So they are just continuing on in the way that they've always been continuing on until something significant happens in their life. Right? Usually it's a big thing. Usually it's an emotional thing, or it's a huge shift in their work status, or they get fired from a job, or they get a divorce, or they, have a car accident, whatever it is. There's some almost
cataclysmic
event, like, right? We're saying the same words. It's our telepathy right now, right? So we're saying the same words because this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And people are like, something has to change. I don't want to live this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore like this. Yeah. So then they choose to look at different information, different technology, different spiritual paths and practices. So that is part of the awakening, the natural and organic way to do it. Yes. But again, we're here talking about the spiritual leaders and the healers and the star seeds because we are the ones that are ushering in this support system for the mass awakening.
Yes.
For the ability for these people to be, that are awakening on their own and being like, what do I do now? Oh my gosh, what's happening? Right? They have a source, they have an outlet of support.
Exactly.
And that happens community. So whereas I do these online courses and I have online experiences, I also draw in a massive amount of people from my local community. Because that's where it's happening, right? We have to get out from behind these computers and we have to connect with people.
Yes. Exactly. That's the big part of why I started my community to connect people and to help guide and mentor people better. It's right about in the end, I think about connecting to who you have always been, but who you've lost sight of. And it's uncovering your genius, the gemstones that are within you, your talents, your gifts, your superpowers, however you want to call them. And it's about then using them to unlock not only your prosperity, but the prosperity for everybody out there. You need to figure out what your key talents are so that you can use them to serve the whole and then profit from it in the end, because this shift is happening whether we like it or not, whether we cooperate or not. And as front runners, we are supposed to be, I think, the mentors, the guides, the trailblazers, the people who show that it can be different, the people who go in the different direction. I created a post a couple of weeks ago where I said, well, I basically think people are sort of two categories. If you look at this way, you are either sheep following the herd, doing what everybody else is doing and living your life, or you're a goat, you're headbutting everybody and you're asking questions about everything, and you eat whatever you want and you do whatever you want, and you are not letting your life be dictated by whoever. And that's what I see. And you have a choice to make. If you're out there, if you're listening, if you're watching today, you need to decide, do you want to remain a sheep? Then I would advise you to stop watching and to unsubscribe from this channel, because you're in the wrong place. Or do you want to step into who you are and what you have to do, the role you have to play, the contributions you can make to the shift that's already happening, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what I would like to add is, yes, I am a spiritual leader, but I am also, by way of ancient ET origin, a prolific healer.
Mm-hmm.
And there are incredible miracles that happen in my life and the life of my clients all the time. And I feel incredibly, incredibly honored and grateful to be able to bring these skills and talents to my clients, to my community, even, you know, whether it's local or whether it's online and it's a virtual
Mm-hmm.
thing. But the one thing that I really, really want to emphasize is for the spiritual leaders that are enmeshed in doing some of the work that they're doing right now, that is focused on um, past life stuff or the healing of generational wounds and all of this kind of stuff. Yes, it happened, but this skepticism and the lack of knowledge that is prohibiting you from making a shift into the greater galactic being, the next phase of your soul's mission, is a bit of a detriment to you right now. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying that with the greatest amount of love, because you can create the greatest impact if you just allow a wider focus to what you are capable of, and you can heal all of those past life things, all of that generational wounds, and the things that are, you know, even if it happened in this lifetime, you know, because there was some bad stuff that was going on and still going on because of the minions that are out there, right? The ones that are not doing good things right now. They're all going to die off eventually, right? And we
Yes.
will literally be in the new age where everyone is collectively on this peaceful, loving journey. But right now, we still have some a-holes to deal with
Yeah.
that that have to be dealt with, right? So this is also a time of coming together and being the collective that makes the change, that makes the shift in 2024, right? So this
Yes.
this is what it's all about. We have work to do as spiritual leaders. So I just encourage you to have a wider focus. And if you're ready and you're willing, then get in touch and just send me a message, send me an email, do, you know, whatever. My website, you can put it on, you know, the show notes or what have you, is lightwavemastery.com. I know it says carlenesaelg.com on the bottom of that frame right there, but that's actually in transition. So it's actually lightwavemastery.com.
Mm-hmm.
and we can get in touch and we can talk about what the next things are that are coming for you, because the leaders, the healers, and the star seeds are the ones who are going to usher in this new age of
Yes.
peace and love and prosperity. And that's the biggest message right there.
I love it. That was actually going to be my question, but you took the wind right out of my sails. But it's perfect because indeed, I can imagine that when you're watching, when you're listening to this episode out there and you feel cold because you are a light worker and you feel that you have more to play in this world, then reach out either to Carlene or reach out to me. I will make sure that all the links that you would need, the links that Carlene just mentioned, will be included in the show notes. And step into the role that you are here to fulfill, because the world needs you, the planet needs you, we need you. And yeah, I think that that's the perfect way to close our wonderful talk. It's been a delight, Carlene, talking with you about this. And if you loved it as much as I did out there, then I would love it if you could like the episode, share the episode, maybe leave a comment below it. That would tremendously help all of us. And for right now, I want to thank you, Carlene, for being here, for sharing what you shared, and for all the wonderful work that you're doing.
My absolute pleasure. And thank you again for having me on. It was really, truly my pleasure.
Right? It was a wonderful pleasure. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your undying support for the show, for always tuning in, for always listening. And I hope to catch you again next week with my next guest. For right now, have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again next week.